Welcome back to The Blind Perspective. Today, I thought I would just kind of show you, I guess you could call it a day in the life of an albino. So now that I have my coffee, let's talk a little bit about what it is that I do during the day. I have been asked the question, what do you do for a job? So because I'm legally blind, I am on disability. So that is where most of my income source comes from. However, I still like to be as involved as I'm able to because, um, who wants to just sit around doing nothing? So what I do with my time is I am a graphic designer. Now, being a graphic designer and having visual impairment are not really common things that you see together. As I have kind of showed on this channel, and I will link down in the description, I have some videos showing some of the accessibility features that I use on my computer and some of my other devices so that I'm able to do my job. There are still some legitimate challenges, and so I still have to pace myself. I would not be able to do it as a full-time job because it does create a lot of eye strain, which can lead to headaches and things like that. So I have to still be very careful. But the thing is, the way I use my graphic design is primarily at my church. It gives me that flexibility. I can still use it, but it gives me the flexibility to pace myself very easily. So some of the things that I do is I do PowerPoints for the congregational singing. I do special event flyers, things that we hand out to people to invite them. I do videos for special services, and an assortment of other things. So I'm able to use that skill primarily there, but I do graphic design work on the side, the clientele work. I've done logo designs and some website things for clients. So I do some of that on the side, which does give me a chance to make a little bit of money. But it's not my primary use of the graphic design. So speaking of graphic design, I have a couple of projects that I need to get done today for the church. So I'm going to work on them, and I will talk about a few things that I do while I'm doing it so that you can maybe understand a little bit about some of the ways that I work through the visual impairment while getting things done. So right now I'm just getting some songs set up for our congregational singing on Wednesday. And one of the things that is kind of handy about the Mac computer, the Apple ecosystem, if you want to say, is that you can actually have your text messages showing up on your computer. And inside of the messaging app, you can change the font to be really big like this. And this is really helpful for me because I get my song list in my text messages, and then right here I can have it and look in my file to find that song. So I use a lot of keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are really helpful. The one, if you want to say, detriment to keyboard shortcuts is that I no longer remember how to do certain functions. So for instance, when I do the zoom that I do, when I do this thing here, where I zoom in, I can't tell you which key that is. I just know that it's the second from the space bar. If I want to do copy and paste, I know that it's the first one next to the space bar. I can't tell you what the keys are anymore. So it makes kind of teaching other people how to do things a little bit tricky because I know how to do it, but I know how to do it on my keyboard because I know where I'm supposed to put my fingers. Now, see these icons down here at the bottom, I can't tell you what they are, like as far as I can't read the text. Now there is a shortcut I have where I can read those now. And that's also a feature you can turn on. That is actually really kind of neat because you can actually, if you see wherever you hover the mouse, you can read what it says. It's kind of a cool feature, especially up here at the menu. Okay, you click here, because those things are really hard to see. So it's a very helpful thing. I'm pretty sure it's something you turn on in the accessibility features because I'm pushing command. Um, and that's making that happen. It's the mouse hover feature. But anyway, so back to the icons. I can't tell you what these are. I can't read the things. However, I tend to just recognize them by their general shape. So I know this is my YouTube one because it's white with a red square in the middle. I can tell this one is my epidemic sound one because it's black with a white thing in the middle. I can't even tell you what shape that is. Um, the orange one is my pages one. But that's how I kind of can see these without actually having to zoom in, is because I'm using that particular, if you want to say, um, man-made modification. So another app that I use is Illustrator, and I use that for a lot of things. This right here is our Easter invite that I was working on, and the hover that I was showing you down at the bottom, I can do that here. If I click on something, um, you know, I can come down here and I can see where my font is. Um, so I can kind of use this feature for some of the features within Illustrator. And that is really helpful because inside of Illustrator, when you're working on a project, if you have to zoom in, um, it can kind of impede what you can do. This is really helpful over here on my menu bar because if you notice when you hover, you can see this here and it tells you what it is. It also gives you brief description so you kind of know. But here's the problem with that. When I zoom in like this to see it, I now no longer can read it because of where my window is. Now this is an adjustable window, so I can zoom up. I can make this big enough to include that description, but then it's taking up way too much of my screen, and that's not really helpful. So being able to use this feature inside of Illustrator really is a game changer for me. So for lunch, I'm going to go over and get a Subway sub. And I decided that we would do that for lunch today because, first of all, to be honest, cost effective wise, it's actually pretty cost effective, and I do it pretty regularly. I get coupons and stuff in the app, and I mean, when you're one person doing grocery shopping versus getting a sandwich for $7, I mean, it's not too bad. $7, $8 just kind of depends on the coupon. So, um, but I thought it would be a good time to kind of talk a little bit about the experiences I have maybe in restaurants, ordering food, fast food restaurants, mobile ordering, just kind of some things along those subjects. So come along with me. So today I did a mobile order for my Subway sub, and one of the main reasons that I did that was because if I order on my phone, I can use the accessibility features on my phone to really see the menu. If I go in person and I can't read the menu, sometimes I can take a picture of the menu and look at it on my phone. And sometimes, it's a little bit awkward if you're ordering and they ask you, "Oh, what sides do you want?" And you're like, "What sides do you have?" And they kind of just point up at the menu and they're like, "They're right there." And then you have to explain to them that you can't see and can they please just tell you what it is. So I like to do mobile orders. This day and age with technology, I can usually look up the menu at a restaurant that I'm going to and get an idea of something that I would want. But this is also the reason why a lot of times I will just order the same thing at different restaurants. It's kind of windy out here. I hope you can hear me. I'm using my microphone, so let's hope you can hear me. But yeah, so I will look up menus ahead of time. If I'm at a sit-down restaurant, I will take pictures of the menu and zoom in and look at it. But yeah, I have a tendency to get the same things at restaurants. Also, when it comes to navigating to get to different places, I will establish a path to go, and then I will stick with that path. I will always walk the same way just because I know I don't have to worry about different things like extra steps or, inclines or anything like that that could potentially be causing. Whew, it's windy out here. Okay, so we got our subway sub, and something else that I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about is I have a tendency to not want to go somewhere if I've never been there before. And this is because I have a tendency to not want to go somewhere by myself that I've never been before. So, like for instance, if I went into a restaurant to pick up an order, if I've never been in there before, I'm not going to know for sure where's the pickup spot, which door to use, different things like that might not seem like that big of a deal to a sighted person, but it's kind of, there's a restaurant right over there that is on the other side of those buildings that has really good food. And, they have really good chicken wings. They've got some other good stuff too. But I live a block away from it. But I don't go there because I had never been there. And I wasn't sure 100% which building it was, which door to use. And so I've just never gone there. But recently, I ended up going over there with a friend to pick up an order. And because now I've been there with somebody, then now I know where it is, exactly which building it is, which door to go in, kind of what it looks like in there. And so now I don't have any problem with if I wanted to make an order over there and go pick it up. And when it comes to restaurants, that doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Like, okay, whatever. But I tend to be that way about most establishments. Grocery stores, you can kind of figure your way around grocery stores. But, other things, it's just a little bit difficult if you have to navigate around a place you've not ever been. If you're with somebody that you can ask them, where is something, or, because when you're in some of these places, there's not always an employee right there that you can ask for help. So it can be a little bit tricky. But once I've done it one time with somebody, I'm usually good to go. When I go places, I figure out the pathway that has the least amount of street crossings, different things like that, obstacles that I know have the potential to be challenging. I find the path that's going to have the least amount of those. Even if it means going a little bit further out of my way, I will still sometimes pick that path just because it's easier than crossing a maybe busier street that's a little bit faster. So another aspect of life is doing laundry. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a load. I don't have a laundry right here in my apartment, but I have one here in my building. So that's what I'm going to be using. Something that can be a challenge when it comes to doing laundry is knowing how to use a machine, because every machine is a little bit different. You kind of figure out which buttons you need to push, and you know which ones they are by location. So I'm going to go ahead and do just a little bit of voiceover for this little part here, just, look like I'm talking to myself in the laundry room. One of the things that I have trouble with is the lid to my laundry is clear and it has clear markings on it. You have to kind of reflect the light so that you can see where the markings are and stuff. I put my thumb there where I know it needs to be, and then I can pour it and that way I can see where I need to kind of stop. And then I just kind of somewhere around that neighborhood. I don't worry about getting it exact. And then I can't read the little labels that show, you know, detergent, bleach, this, that, and the other. So I just know I always put it in the lower right. When it comes to putting the quarters in, that's a little bit of a struggle sometimes because seeing where that slot is, not exactly easy. So I kind of have to feel for it to put it in there. And so it can be a little bit, you know, not so smooth and graceful. And then when it's time to start the machine, I just know that it's all of the, it's all of the buttons on the left side, what I need. And then the green button starts it. So hopefully this gives you just a little bit of an idea of my day-to-day life and just honestly how normal my life is. I have albinism and it comes with challenges, but for the most part, I'm able to work around most challenges and still kind of do the things that I'm trying to do. And the challenges I do have that can't be worked around, I just kind of roll with them. I mean, this was only a small glimpse of the things I do. And maybe in the future I will do some more things, maybe, cooking and just some other things. If there are things you want to see or you have questions about, leave them down in the comments and, we'll do a part 2 showing the rest of a day. So thanks for watching.